Hey guys, what's up? Coach Matt Magnum here, talking about the workout for Monday the 25th. Gonna get the week started right. So it is a movement pattern day. So we're going through all of our movement patterns. The three that we are emphasizing are the squat, press, and pull. But remember, when we do the press and the pull, make sure to do it in the horizontal plane, but also mix in that vertical plane. Not necessarily every session, but over the course of every few sessions, movement pattern days, over the course of the week especially, you should hit all four of those movement patterns. Pressing in the horizontal and vertical plane and pulling in the horizontal and vertical plane. Same thing for the squats. Most of the time we want to just do a regular squat, whether it's, regular as in barbell on your back or regular as in just body weight squat. That's what you want to do most of the time. You can definitely mix in front squats, and if you just prefer that to be your main squat, that's fine too. But we also want to mix in single leg variations, so lunges and step ups from time to time. Not necessarily every session, and that's probably not even necessarily every week. I would say every 3 or 4 sessions, probably mix in a single leg exercise, or every 2 or 3 weeks, definitely by then make sure you've done at least something that is single leg. 3 weeks is probably too long, but anyway, you get my point. Squatting, pressing, pulling. Today, the emphasis is on muscular endurance. So that means probably going to be doing body weight or light to moderate resistance. And unless you're really equipped and comfortable with using moderate resistance on whatever high endurance or high rep muscular endurance thing you're doing, probably just going to recommend body weight exercises today. That's what I do for the most part. I'd probably mix in something with resistance from time to time, but I'm doing body weight squats today. I'm doing push-ups, and I will probably do something pull related. Normally I'll just do like a kettlebell swing there, even though that's not really a pull. That's a different pattern. That's actually a hip hinge, but I don't want to, that's beyond right. I'm just trying to get these three going. We get consistency in these three. We talk about that later. But I might do a pull-up today. I don't know. We're going to decide on that. That's where you can be flexible. So probably recommending for the most part just body weight stuff. Don't make it complicated. Keep it simple, and then just put the concentration into the quality of movement and getting better, and you'll see the results, okay? Again, what I like to do, convenient circuits. Convenient, right? Keep it simple. I just stand in the middle of my living room. It doesn't have to be complicated. I do body weight squats, I do push-ups, I do kettlebell swings. Sometimes I'll mix in core stuff or burpees or something like that, but I'll talk about that in just a second. But just keep it convenient, keep it simple, because then it's more likely that you'll do it because you're not dreading it. Because it's simple and you can just stand in your living room, or you can't give yourself an excuse because if you get a bolt of energy at 10 at night just because randomly, because you're that kind of person, you can't, well, I got to go to the gym. And not, no, just stand in your living room, start doing some squats, and then blah, 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 whatever. So convenient circuits is what I recommend. You can just stand there and do straight sets. You can do that, but the convenient circuits save time. It's more efficient, blah, blah, blah. Trying to emphasize 15 and plus reps, 15 plus. If you can just get to 12 to 15, that's fine. But trying to get towards that, at least work towards it. If you do 8 body weight squats and you are just blown up, then guess what? You're working on your muscular endurance. So just try and work towards doing whatever you can do. But eventually, when we say we're working on muscular endurance, eventually we want that to be 15 plus reps, okay? Unless there's some reason you're doing really slow tempo, but again, that's beyond the scope of whatever. It is a muscular endurance day. It's not a conditioning day. So we want to emphasize that lactic acid muscular burn over a high pace where breathing becomes the limiting factor. I do not want the limiting factor today to be heavy breathing, so I have to stop and catch my breath. I want it to be that localized lactic acid buildup in whatever muscle you're working. So if you're doing your body weight squats, whether it's your thighs, whether it's your butt, your hamstrings, whatever it might be, if you're doing push-ups, whether it's your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, wherever that localized muscular burn gives out first, that's what we want to be emphasizing over breathing. That's not to say every set needs to be to failure. I didn't say go to failure, but we're emphasizing that burn, especially as if you're doing circuits over the breathing. Now, if you're just doing straight sets with barbells and dumbbells, if you're doing like barbell squats for 15 reps, good luck. If you're doing I would say dumbbell presses instead of bench press, I wouldn't do a bench press high rep unless you have a spotter there. But dumbbell presses, 12 to 15 reps, you can do that. That is acceptable. But I would probably just save that kind of stuff for strength emphasis day, and I would just do body weight stuff today. That's me. That's what I would do. But if that's not what you want to do and you want to go lift the weights, brah, that's cool too. Yeah, cool. I think that's everything. So I think I tried to make that short and sweet. I don't know if it was or not. We'll have to just see what the playback says. But thanks for watching. Follow for free daily workouts and all these cool tips and sweet, awesome stuff. And then if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or results, put them in the bottom. Appreciate you watching. Thanks. Later. Hey guys, what's up? Coach Matt Magnum here, talking about the workout for Tuesday the 26th. We have a conditioning day today. So remember, the main difference between our conditioning days and our muscular endurance days, never mind the movement pattern part, just the muscular endurance part, is today we are emphasizing the heart rate and the breathing over the burn. So yesterday we talked about if you were doing a circuit or something like that, I did not want the breathing and the heart rate to be the limiting factor. I wanted the localized lactic acid burn in the muscle to be the limiting factor. That's what's going to increase muscular endurance. Today we are working more on our cardiovascular conditioning with some in between there, but that's beyond the scope of me stopping to explain what I mean by that. But for the most part, we're working on our heart rate and our breathing today versus that localized muscular burn. So all of our normal choices are in play today, okay? So you've got your GPP, your general physical preparedness, that is your tire dragging, your weighted vest stuff, weighted carries, farmer's walks, but you can mix those carries up. You can bear hug something, carry a plate overhead, does not matter. Just walk carrying a load. That's why farm boys are so strong. They talk about farm boy strength because they're carrying those bales of hay and those big jugs of milk and whatever, those 5-gallon buckets filled with stuff. That's GPP just built into the day's work. So we're trying to replicate that so we can have that farm boy strength. All right. Steady cardio, steady cardio. You just pick a machine, pick a time, and just go. So you're jogging, power walking, walking on an incline, elliptical machine, stair climber, biking, all that stuff, swimming. Just a nice, steady, repetitive motion for the duration, working in that heart rate breathing range. Hard enough that it's challenging, but you don't ever quit, okay? If you ever feel like you have to quit, slow down and keep going rather than stopping, okay? That means you were trying to go too hard to begin with anyway. And then intervals and circuits. So there's lots of different ways you can do intervals. If you are, this isn't the first thing I recommend, but just as an example, you could line up and just do a sprint, walk back, do a sprint, walk back. And as long as you never let your heart rate drop all the way back down, as long as you're doing that for the allotted time limit, that counts. So that's why a lot of people like intervals. You could also do those intervals on whatever cardio machine. You could get the elliptical, do a 20, 30 second burst, and then a minute or two, just regular steady state. Same thing if you're running or jogging. Hit about a 20 or 30 foot sprint and then just jog slow. 20, 30 foot sprint, jog slow. Or you can mix it up even more. Do your jog for 5 minutes and then stop and do some burpees or something like that. So there's all kinds of ways you can mix in those intervals, and same thing with the circuits. Now, one thing I haven't talked about much is different body weight exercises you could do for circuits on conditioning day. We've mostly talked about that in terms of movement pattern day. So just some of my simple favorites: burpees, jumping jacks, and mountain climbers. Those are some real simple ways to get the heart rate up. You don't need any equipment, just body weight, and it makes a great, even if you don't comprise the entire circuit of just these three, there's some great workout or great exercises just to mix in, get that heart rate up, and burn those calories. This one especially is really underrated. If you sit there and just kind of lazily do whatever, yeah, you're not going to get much out of it. But if you really put the intent and effort into doing powerful, repetitive jumping jacks, I mean, again, it's just a really underrated exercise. So remember, doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're working hard relative to your skill level, and that heart rate and breathing is up for the duration, okay? So what's the duration? Usually 20 to 30 minutes and 30 to 40 minutes sometimes, okay? So normally I want you doing something that's intense enough that by that 20 to 30 minute mark, most of the time you're ready to be done by that point, okay? As you get in better shape, or occasionally you can do something that lasts 30 to 40 minutes, but don't get caught in the trap of thinking that 40 minutes is always going to be better than 20 minutes, because you can maintain a much higher intensity for 20 minutes. So if you're doing 20 minutes worth of sprinting intervals, that has proven to be just as, if not more effective than 40 minutes of just a slow jog or just kind of hanging out on the elliptical machine but not really getting after it. Okay, so don't think that just longer is better. We want a nice blend of volume and intensity. If you're only doing this for 10 minutes, then you're probably doing something that's too hard. On conditioning day, I want to stretch this out. I want to challenge you. So I want to push for at least that 20 to 30 minute mark. If you can just absolutely only do 5 to 10 minutes worth of cardio, because that's just where you are, then what you need to do then is take a short break and then do it again. Take a short break and then do it again. And that way you can try and make something at least add up to that 20 or 30 minute mark until you can do something for the 20 or 30 minute mark. But again, be honest with yourself about what that means, and not just, well, he said I could work out for 5 minutes, so that's what I'm going to do. Challenge yourself, work hard, but keep it relative to your skill level so that you can make that time. All right? Appreciate you watching, guys. Follow the page for more free daily workouts and cool, super cool tips. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns, results, if you're not sure what to do with all this and you just need somebody to give you some ideas, let me know and I will interact with you. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later. What's up, guys? Coach Matt Magnum here, talking about the workout for Wednesday the 27th. It is a movement pattern day with a strength emphasis. So if you've been following the last few weeks, should be at least somewhat familiar with what that means. If not, then the main thing is just to know that we emphasize movement patterns over any particular exercise or muscle group. So what we're going to do is we're picking a squat movement, a pushing movement, and a pulling movement, and that is going to be your workout for today. Because it is a strength emphasis, we're using slow tempo, we're using pauses to make lighter weight and body weight feel heavy so that we can use low reps, with my favorite being 3s and 5s. So if you have access to equipment, then you're either using barbell exercises, you're using gym machines, or other free weights like dumbbells, kettlebells. You're going to have to get real creative to hit all three, but you can. If that's what you have, that's fine. If you don't have access to equipment, you're using mostly body weight exercises, body weight squats or lunges, mostly push-ups, and some kind of pull-up or horizontal row variation. You can use some kind of resistance band row if, again, if you don't have any equipment whatsoever, at least get a resistance band and you can do something with it. So that is the general overview. I will be doing my barbell back squats, overhead barbell presses, and probably pull-ups because I did some barbell rows over the weekend. So real simple, doesn't have to be complicated. Especially with all the other workouts that we're doing throughout the week, with all the conditioning work, with all the muscular endurance work that we're doing, it doesn't have to be real complicated on these strength work days. And what I was going to say, especially with the 3s and 5s, whether you just work up to a single set of 3 or 5, or whether you're doing multiple sets of 3s and 5s, or a single, or whatever it is, again, really, you only need to do multiple sets here if you're not doing the other exercises during the week. If you're doing your muscular endurance days, if you're doing all your conditioning days, then there's not really a reason to go heavy for 5 sets of 5. Now, if this week you just didn't get a whole lot of stuff in, something happened, whatever, it's been a few days, maybe you go 5 sets of 5, or you know that this is going to be the last workout you're going to get for a couple days, whatever. But that's why I don't give you specific sets and reps. You got to use your brain just a little bit. But if you're ever confused or you have questions, let me know and I'll help you out. So we're using the tempo, the pauses, so that we can get low reps with not light, but still moderate weight or body weight feeling heavy. We want to emphasize that quality over ego. And this is the thing, especially when you say strength emphasis. One thing you have to do if you want to get stronger, if you want to get better, if you want to get in better shape, doesn't matter what it is, exercise-wise, all the above, you have to use progressive overload, okay? The problem with that is, again, when you use your ego and when you think about strength, most people only think of progressive overload as adding weight to the bar. Had 100 pounds this week, next week it's 110, that's progressive overload. But there are actually lots of different types of strength. I'm going to talk about 3 specific and 1 vague general types of strength. And 3 out of 4 usually get left out. And that's where people hit plateaus or they get injured because they are only trying to develop one type of strength. Now, you don't need to know these scientific terms, eccentric, concentric, and isometric, but essentially there are 3 parts to every exercise. Most exercises, at least with resistance training, 3 parts to every exercise. There is the negative portion where you are lowering the weight and the muscle is stretching and getting longer. There is the isometric, which just means a pause, where I hold the weight in place. The muscle length does not change at all. I'm just holding the weight there. And then there is the positive portion of the lift, which is what most people think of when I'm actually lifting the weight, pressing the weight back up, and those muscles are now getting shorter and shorter as I press the weight and squeeze. Okay? So negative is where it's stretching. I can hold it there for an isometric where it's not doing anything, and then I lift it back up where the muscle gets shorter. So those are your 3 different types of specific strength. So if you're struggling, go back to the bench press, 225, 2 wheels. If you're struggling, you're doing the seizure bench press where you're shaking and you barely lock it out. Most people would just keep doing that for weeks and weeks at a time and wonder why they're always stuck at 275 is like the magic number where everyone gets stuck at, and that's one of the reasons why. You go back, focus on the negative part of your strength, the isometric pauses, and then the concentric, the lifting portion, all of a sudden will feel a lot easier. Now, I said 3 specific, the 4th is general. That's just your control. again, if I go back to that bench press, if I did my set of 3 and it was all shaky, and I go back the next week and I do that same weight, same set of 3, but this time it was a lot smoother, even if I didn't specifically do a slow negative or I didn't do any pauses or whatever it might be, I still got stronger, I still got better because my control over that weight improved. That's kind of a general vague, that's not real specific scientific terminology. Your control is a type of strength. But that's what you need to be thinking about rather than just more weight on the bar, more weight on the bar, more weight on the bar, because there will be a limit to that. But when you hit that limit, or long before you hit that limit, you can go back and work on better control with a lighter weight, or you can work on the negatives and the pauses that are going to help break through those plateaus. So anyway, that's my strength training golden nugget of info for the day. All right, that's really good stuff. I'm telling you, I know it's buried deep in these convos, but it's good stuff if you bother to listen all the way through. So if you have listened all the way through, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Follow the page. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Come on. Follow the page for free daily workouts and more super cool, awesome tips like this. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, or results, post them below and I will interact with you. All right, thanks a lot. See you next time. Later. Hey guys, what's up? Coach Matt Magnum here, talking about the workout for Thursday the 28th. It is a conditioning day. So that means heart rate and breathing is the goal. That's okay if you still get some of that lactic acid burn, that's all right, but we don't want that to be the limiting factor like we do on muscular endurance day. We want heart rate and breathing to be the limiting factor. So you got all the usual suspects. If you've been following, we've been talking about this a lot. I'm giving you options. Those options haven't changed, but you can always add additional things as long as it fits whatever we're doing for that day. So the main things we talk about: if you don't have much equipment, the very least you can do, get an old tire, drag a tire. If you have a fancy gym with fancy equipment, you can drag or push a sled. Those two are pretty much the same thing, just high-end equipment versus do-it-yourself. Any kind of weighted carries, farmer's carry, overhead carries, Urcher carry, bear hug, which is similar. Steady state cardio, treadmills, ellipticals, bikes, all that stuff. Intervals, high intensity interval training, or just regular intervals if high intensity isn't what you're ready for yet. And different types of circuits. Make sure that whatever circuits you're doing aren't overusing the movement patterns that we're going to be doing on movement pattern day. So if we just had movement pattern with muscular endurance day with body weight squats, push-ups, and pull-ups, then you probably shouldn't do body weights, push-ups, or squats, push-ups, and pull-ups today for these circuits, because you're just repeating the same thing. Now, that's not to say you should never do that, but it shouldn't be what you normally do. So you could still pick body weight exercises. I've talked about burpees, talked about jumping jacks, talked about mountain climbers. Those are my favorite conditioning-based body weight exercises that anybody can do right off the bat that aren't replicating those movement patterns we're doing on different days. Make sure that you're not just getting in the habit of doing the same thing every time. Make sure you are varying your time and your intensity, but still relative to you. No matter who you are, no matter where your skill level is, you can still vary these times and intensities. So I'm not saying you have to pick a new thing every single time till you work through everything. Most of the time I drag the tire, I jog, and I box. That's a lot of what I do on the conditioning days. I might mix in the other things sparingly, but it's not like I make sure to do an equal amount of everything. Same thing, pick a couple of things you like, make sure you're switching it up enough, but make sure you're picking things you like so that you can stay consistent and do them. But no matter where your skill level is, you can still vary that intensity. No matter what you're doing, some days it's better to go a little harder, which means it's going to have to be a little shorter, and then some days it's better to just take it a little bit easier and go a little longer. There's different reasons why you would do that. That are beyond the scope of this conversation, but just make sure that you are mixing it up, especially if you're particularly sore that day and you're thinking about not doing anything and just resting and taking the day off. That's when maybe the intensity level comes down and you just do something a little bit longer, something that doesn't take as much concentration. You just cruise on a bike for a while, where if it's a day you feel really good, depending on where your level is, maybe you go out to the track and you do 400-meter repeaters. So that's just throwing things out there, but just make sure you are mixing that stuff up relative to your skill levels so you don't get stale and you can continue to progress. Most of the time, we're shooting for 20 to 30 minutes because if you're working hard enough, that is plenty. If you're only getting 8 or 12 or 15 minutes in, that's probably a little too hard for what we're trying to get done, okay? Sometimes, and as you get in better shape, 30 to 40 minutes will be more appropriate as you get in better shape, or just occasionally, once a week, doing a long, slow distance jog is occasionally, or I've been building up. I've been doing 20 and 25-minute jogs, but I'm feeling really good today. I think I'll go for a 30 or 40-minute jog occasionally. So sometimes you're working it in intentionally, sometimes you just feel good, sometimes you just know that you need to mix it up, and that's what you're going to make yourself do. So anyway, I think that covers the workout for today. I want to talk about finding your target heart rate, because that's one of the main things where you can go beyond just how you feel and you can actually measure specifically whether you're doing enough work or not. So you don't want to let this distract from your workout, but just occasionally you can use this as a test to make sure you are working out hard enough or that you're not working out too hard and overdoing it. So the way you find your target heart rate, you take 220, which is the max heart rate of all time anywhere, subtract your age, and that is your max heart rate for your age group, okay? 220 minus your age, that is your maximum heart rate for your age group. Now, that's not where we can train, that's where just your max heart rate is. So, depending on where you're at, and just off the top of my head, 60 to 70% is the minimum that you want to be working at and counting it towards your conditioning. So if you do a 5-minute warm-up where you're just kind of walking at 90 beats per minute and you're 25, then that doesn't count as part of your 20 to 30 minutes. That needs to be 20 to 30 minutes in that target heart rate. So that means find your max heart rate, find 60 to 70% of that, and that is about the minimum that you want to be training at. The maximum is going to be trained at 80 to 90%. You will probably not be able to do anything the entire time for 20 to 30 minutes at 90% of your target heart rate. That is probably going to be more for intervals and circuits and that kind of thing, where you're bumping it up to 90 and then bringing it back down and then bumping it back up and bringing it back down. You're probably not going to be able to do 20 to 30 minutes at 90% of your max heart rate, okay? But if you don't know how to work out percentages, just make it a decimal. So multiply your max times 0.6, that's 60%. Multiply it times 0.7, that's 70%. Those two numbers, that's about your low end. Same thing, multiply times 0.8 or 0.9, those two numbers are about your high end. Most of your training takes place in that range, and then you're working hard enough, you're burning calories, you're making sure that you get overloading, using progressive overload on your cardiovascular systems. So, boom, that's the golden advice for today for conditioning. And just keep working hard, keep burning those calories, keep getting stronger. Follow the page for all these free daily workouts and super cool tips. And then if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or results, comment in the section, or post them in the comments below, and I will respond. Appreciate you watching. See you later. Hey guys, what's up? Coach Matt Magnum here, talking about the workout for Friday the 29th. It is a Friday flex day, so we got some things that we can mix up towards the end of the week. We mix things up a little bit more because depending on what you've done or what you haven't done, everybody's going to be feeling a little bit differently at this point in the week. So I want to make sure I'm giving you options where you can still progress and you're not feeling like you're killing yourself every single day. Because the one thing I don't want you to do is skip days. I would much rather you substitute in something that you feel like you can do rather than just be intimidated by the idea that I feel terrible today, this is going to suck, I'll just skip it. I'd rather you substitute in something that you can do rather than skip any days. So that's why we kind of change things up, especially towards the end of the week, but you can always sub something in. Anyway, Friday flex day, but it is still a movement pattern day. So what we're going to mix up and give you the options for is the emphasis for today. So it is either a strength or a muscular endurance day. Now ideally, I think we did muscular endurance on Monday, and then I think we did strength on Wednesday. So it really should just be up to you. If you're not that sore, it'd be a good idea to go for another strength day. If you are pretty sore, then just go through those movement patterns, get a little burn going, and see what happens, okay? I got distracted with my bullet points here, but of course our movement patterns, emphasizing squatting, pressing, pulling, making sure to press and pull in both the horizontal plane and the vertical plane, pressing and pulling. The squat can be bilateral, so just a traditional two-legged squat pattern, whether it's something on your back, barbell in front, holding an object, or just body weight. But then there are also single leg squat patterns, lunges, step-ups, that kind of thing. So those are your movement patterns. Doesn't matter so much what exercise you do as long as it fits the pattern. So we can have a strength or a muscular endurance emphasis today. You can use external resistance if you have access to it. Barbell, dumbbell, kettlebell, gym machines, does not matter. Or you can use body weight if you do not have access to any gym equipment, or if that's what you feel like you need to do today. Okay? For strength, we're going with low reps. So if you're using resistance with low reps, or body weight with low reps. If you're using body weight with low reps, you're probably going to have to do a lot of slow tempo, isometric pauses to make it more difficult, that kind of thing. And that's fine. If you're using resistance, then you're just shooting for singles, threes, or fives for the most part. Whether you work up to a single heavy set or whether you work up to a challenging weight and then do a few sets at that challenging weight is really just up to you. If you need any guidance on that, ask me in the comments. So you can use resistance for low reps, you can use body weight for low reps, but you can also use resistance for medium to high reps or body weight for medium to high reps. The body weight for medium to high reps, that's a little bit more obvious. You're just doing your push-ups or your body weight squats for higher reps. There's probably still quality of movement, but you're not emphasizing a slow tempo, you're not pausing anywhere, you're just going through the range of motion and getting those high reps. Medium to high reps. High reps means 15 plus. Really 15 plus is when we start really maximizing muscular endurance. You can do it in 12 to 15, but really 15 plus is where we want to be. What I'm thinking about today is I have not done this yet. On all our muscular endurance days, I've mostly been doing body weight stuff, but I'm thinking I may use a barbell today in the medium to high range rep range, and that will suck. So we'll see, because I'm feeling all right today. We'll see if I'm still feeling froggy in a little while when it's time to do it. We'll see. So again, if you got any questions, you're not sure what to do with all that, because I just gave you 4 options, comment and we'll discuss. Today is also a great day to do any accessories or core work that you have not gotten in this week so far. If you haven't done your core yet, get your core in. And if you have any lagging or weak or special body parts you want to work on, then today is the day, a great day for accessory work. If you have problem areas, the last thing you want to do is just spend all your time working on nothing but what you perceive to be your problem areas. That's the longest route to get to results. What you want to do is take a holistic, total body, viewpoint and just work your whole body, and your body will naturally fill out and thin down where it needs to, and you do it long enough, you'll be happy with the results. And then of course you can always fill in the accessories once you build your foundation. Yeah, that's it, guys. Friday Flex. No super secret special extras today. It's just straightforward. This is the workout. That's what's up. You got any questions, comments, concerns, results? Post them below. I will interact with you. Otherwise, follow the page for free daily workouts and super cool, awesome fitness tips. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Later. Yeah. What's up, guys? Coach Matt Magnum here, and I'm here to talk about the workout for Saturday the 30th, but a little bit of filming movie magic. It's actually still Friday right now. I just got done dragging the tire and I am dying. So if you haven't gotten your tire yet, this is just another one of many endorsements. You need to get a tire, you need to drag, all right? So, but today, Saturday the 30th, weekend, woohoo! It is a makeup day. And just like I alluded to, I said I was probably going to do high endurance movement pattern work with a barbell. Did not feel like doing it. Thought I was going to feel like doing it. Was excited about doing it. Did not feel like doing it when it came down to it. So I dragged the tire with a little bit of extra weight in the back, and I actually had a really good time. I mean, I didn't have a good time, but my time was good. It sucked, but it was good because it was doable, because dragging a tire is always doable. So get a tire. But anyway, Saturday, makeup day. So we got a lot of options towards the end of the week. This is day 6 out of 7. So if you have missed anything, make up a missed workout. So if you missed a day, didn't feel like doing something and substituted something out and never got around to it, make it up today. If you did everything, congratulations, that's awesome. Repeat a workout that you liked. If there was a workout you liked, you're still feeling fresh and froggy, then repeat something that you liked, go for it. If you don't want to repeat something, you can make up your own workout. Okay, the patterns between the movement pattern days and the conditioning days, if you've been following, it's not switching back and forth exactly every other day, but I mean, it's pretty close. It's not rocket science. So using the principles that I have been describing over the past several weeks, you should be more than capable of making up your own workout if you have at least some knowledge of exercise or whatever. If you don't, let me know and I'll come up with something for you. If you interact with me, I will interact with you. All right? If you want to do something special, today's a good day to do something special. You could go out for a hike, you could go for a bike ride, today would be a good day for a long, slow distance jog. Okay, say you're just average a mile. Today would be a good day to run 2 or 3, but you do it slow. I say on conditioning days, 20 to 30 minutes, usually 30 to 40 minutes sometimes. That would be a 30 to 40 minute day. Or you could go to the opposite. You could go to the track and do some sprints or some 400 or 800 meter repeaters or do some stadium runs or something that you wouldn't necessarily go do every single day, but just something special. And that might, and I just named some stuff. If you're feeling a little bit more sore, maybe it's a long, slow distance run. If you're feeling fresh, maybe it's more high intensity something or another. And of course, at the end of the week, we can do plenty of active recovery. I mentioned the hike or if it's not an intense bike run, a casual bike run, find a yoga video on YouTube or something. Go play some soccer or whatever. Just active recovery, moving around, going through the neighborhood, getting some blood pumping and working off some rust, all right? So Saturday, it's makeup day. You got plenty of options, but again, if you need something specific, let me know and I will get back to you in the comments. All right. Follow the page for free daily workouts and all these cool, super cool, awesome fitness tips. I already said, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, blah, 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 put them in the comments and I'll interact. So thanks a lot. Have a good weekend and I'll see you on Monday. Later.